The entire locker room just got put on notice, and if you thought the insults from CM Punk last week were just mic work, then you haven't been paying attention. Because when Roman Reigns stepped back onto that stage, it wasn't just a return, it was a warning shot. And here's the real question. Did CM Punk finally poke the wrong tribal chief? Last week, Punk didn't just run his mouth. He dissected Roman. He questioned his dominance.
He mocked the bloodline.
He laughed at the idea that Roman still runs this company. And he did it with that signature smirk, that slow burn confidence, the kind that makes you wonder whether he knows something the rest of us don't. But on March 2nd, 2026, everything changed. The cameras cut. The crowd buzzed. And then that music hit. You know the one. The arena atmosphere shifted instantly. No dramatic buildup. No warning. Just presence. Roman Reigns walked back into WWE like a king reclaiming land that had been temporarily occupied. Let me ask you something right now. Did you get chills when that music hit, or were you sitting there thinking, Punk asked for this? Drop it in the comments. Because this wasn't just a return. It was calculated. Roman didn't storm to the ring. He didn't sprint. He walked.
Slow.
Controlled. Eyes locked forward. No wasted motion. That's not a man reacting emotionally. That's a man who has already decided the outcome. CM Punk stood there, smirking at first. But you could see it, that half-second flicker in his eyes. The realization that words have consequences. And that's where things got nuclear. Roman grabbed the mic, and instead of yelling, instead of raging, he did something worse. He smiled. He let the crowd chant. He let the tension build. And then he said 4 words that shook the building. You needed me back. Not I'm back. Not you disrespected me.
No.
He flipped the narrative. He made it sound like Punk summoned him. Like Punk wasn't attacking him. He was begging for relevance. That's psychological warfare. Think about it, who benefits more from this feud? Roman, who has headlined for years. Or Punk, who thrives on chaos and controversy. Be honest, who needs this rivalry more right now? Roman didn't stop there. He reminded everyone that while Punk talks about revolutions, he builds empires. While Punk burns bridges, he builds legacies. And while Punk fights authority, he is authority inside that ring. The tension escalated fast. Punk fired back, of course. He called Roman a manufactured dynasty. Said the bloodline carried him. Said without Paul Heyman whispering in his ear, he's just another guy with good lighting. That comment, that one landed. You could feel the temperature shift. Roman stepped closer. The crowd got louder. Security started hovering. And for a split second, it looked like we were about to get a fight right then and there. But Roman did something brilliant. He backed up. He laughed. And he told Punk, you don't get this fight for free. Now, let's pause right there. Is Roman ducking? Or is he making Punk earn it? Because that line changed everything. Instead of exploding into chaos, Roman turned this into a chess match. He implied Punk isn't on his level anymore. That he has to climb back up. That the best in the world might not even be top 5 in today's landscape. That's insulting. And Punk looked furious. The crowd was split, half chanting for Roman, half for Punk. It felt like a civil war inside the arena. And remember, this all unfolded live on Monday Night Raw, where moments become history in seconds. Roman then addressed the bigger picture. He talked about legacy, about dominance, about how every so-called revolutionary eventually kneels when the numbers stop adding up. He didn't shout.
He didn't rant.
He dissected. He told Punk that the last time he tried to change the system, he walked away. But Roman stayed. Roman carried the company. Roman turned pressure into power. Now here's something I want you to think about. Is loyalty more powerful than rebellion? Because that's the core of this rivalry. Punk represents chaos. Anti-establishment energy. The voice of the voiceless. Roman represents control. Structure.
Dynasty.
When Roman mentioned the road to WrestleMania 42, the crowd erupted. He didn't officially challenge Punk. He didn't have to. He simply said, if you're still standing when it matters, maybe I'll see you there. Maybe. That one word was gasoline on a fire. Punk snapped. He stepped forward and said he doesn't wait for permission. He doesn't stand in line. And if Roman thinks he can manipulate this into another coronation, he's mistaken. And that's when it happened. The stare down. No music. No commentary. Just raw tension. You could see years of ego, pride, and unfinished business boiling over. Two megastars. Two philosophies. One inevitable collision. And here's what makes this so explosive. Both men believe they're right. Roman believes he carried the company through its most critical years. Punk believes he changed it forever. Who's wrong?
Who's right?
Or are we watching two truths collide? As the segment ended, Roman dropped the mic first. That's dominance. Punk held his stare. That's defiance. Neither blinked. Now imagine this escalating week after week. Imagine Punk targeting the Bloodline members individually. Imagine Roman forcing Punk into brutal qualifiers just to earn a title shot. Imagine the mind games, the verbal warfare, the near brawls that security barely contains. We're not just looking at a match. We're looking at a culture clash. And here's another question for you. If this becomes official, who does the crowd side with long-term? The established tribal chief? Or the returning rebel? Because fan allegiance might determine the emotional weight of this feud. Let's talk stakes. If Roman wins, he reinforces the idea that dominance outlasts defiance. That structure beats rebellion. That the empire always stands. If Punk wins, it validates every insult, every accusation. It says Roman's era is fading. That's legacy-altering. And don't forget, Punk thrives when doubted. The more the system pushes against him, the more dangerous he becomes. But Roman thrives when challenged. The bigger the threat, the colder he gets. So what happens when unstoppable composure meets uncontrollable fire? The March 2nd confrontation didn't give us punches. It gave us something worse. Anticipation. The kind that keeps you refreshing updates. The kind that makes you argue with strangers online. The kind that splits fan bases right down the middle. Roman's return wasn't about defending his honor. It was about reminding everyone that the throne isn't vacant. Punk's insults weren't random. They were strategic. He knew Roman would respond.
He wanted this spotlight.
He wanted this friction. And now he has it. But here's the twist nobody's talking about. What if Roman wanted this too? What if the tribal chief saw the landscape getting stale? What if he needed a rival who wouldn't fall in line? What if Punk is exactly the chaos Roman needs to prove he's still evolving? Because, let's be real, dominance without resistance gets boring. And nothing about this feels boring. So, let me ask you one last thing. If you're booking this storyline, do you let it explode quickly, or do you drag it out, let the tension simmer, make the eventual match feel like a once-in-a-decade collision? Comment your fantasy booking right now. Should Punk ambush Roman next week? Should Roman cost Punk a contenders match? Should this headline WrestleMania? Or should it end in absolute anarchy long before that? One thing is undeniable. March 2nd wasn't just a return. It was the opening chapter of something volatile. Roman Reigns walked into Raw calm, composed, and in control. CM Punk walked out furious, provoked, and more dangerous than ever. And we're stuck in the middle, watching two giants circle each other. No punches thrown. No blood spilled. Just tension so thick you could cut it with a knife. And if this is how it starts, how does it end? Sound off below.
Choose your side.
Tribal chief or voice of the voiceless. Because the war just began.